There are 450 spots that can be occupied by a player in the NBA. Usually those 450 spots are taken up by the best players in the whole entire world. Sometimes on the usual NBA team, there's a mix of all-stars, veterans, young players, etc., etc. But in some cases, some of these players slip out of the league for many reasons, whether it be the league doesn't believe in your talents anymore, you're a young player that didn't work out, you're getting old, or you just had enough of playing basketball. But do you ever wonder what happened to some of these players that just end up not making the final roster? Well, this is the theme of this video with your boy, Alvini Linguine, where we take a look at some NBA players who dropped out of the NBA either by their own choice or because nobody would sign them, forcing them to play somewhere else. To avoid from making this video an hour long, we will just be looking at each player's last few seasons to see why they ended up where they are now and to see what type of stats they're putting up compared to when they was in the NBA. Now the players we're going to be talking about today are going to be players everyone should know of. Should know of. I don't know if you're casual or not. But if you want a part 2 full of players you probably don't remember that are also killing it overseas, then let's see that like button go to 1,000 likes on this video and I'll make it next week's video. Just as an example of one of these players, you remember this nigga? You probably don't. Well, here is his stats in his last season in the NBA. And here is his stats this season in China. Want to know more about it? Then like the fucking video. But let's get things started, shall we? You already know who it is. Roll it!
He incurred an injury dealing with weights in the weight room, so he stitched up in the left hand doing all this.
It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
First, let's talk about Lance Stephenson, former up-and-coming player with the Indiana Pacers who's having such a good start to his career with Paul George. He was known for doing some interesting stuff on the court, but as long as he was being productive and a decent all-around player, there was no complaints from people. Though blowing in LeBron's ear was definitely kind of sus, but that's Lance for you know what I mean? In the 2013-2014 season, he had his best season to date, with 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists a game. However, he left Indy for a bigger contract with Charlotte, which we all know was the worst decision he could have ever made in his whole entire fucking life. My nigga left the best situation in Indiana for $9 million a year. But as we all remember, the Charlotte experiment didn't really work, so then he was traded to the Clippers, where he was ass. Remember, I'm the only Clippers fan on YouTube. Then he was traded to Memphis, where things again didn't work out. Lance then signed with the Pelicans, he got waived. Then he signed a few 10-day contracts with the Timberwolves, and I don't even remember that, and I'm like a NBA junkie. And then he found his way back on to Indiana, where he revived his career a bit. Then he ended up being a veteran piece with LeBron on the Lakers, where he was decent but not good enough since he was on the same team as LeBron. You know how it is. Due to all these disappointing seasons and the fact that he's about to be 30, he lost his place in the NBA and started his new career in the Chinese Basketball Association with fuck me. Hey Google, how do you say this?
Liaoning flying leopards, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, there we go. That's how you say it. What, y'all still want me to say foreign teams basketball teams correctly? Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But anyway, he went to the Liaoning Flying Leopards, I'm gonna guess that says, where he dominated immediately. In his one season there, he went from averaging 7 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists on 42% from the field and 27% from 3 in his last season in the NBA, to averaging 27 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists on 52% from the field, and not much improvement from 3 to 30%. But as you can see, Lance is having fun in China. He had even won his team a terrific 12 championship in the East Asia Super League and scored 34 points in the championship game. Maybe this season will show GMs that he still has something to offer in the league, so let's hope for the best of his career, or that he can just become a legend in China like a lot of people are doing now. Next, let's look at how Nikola Mirotic is doing. In the 2019 free agency period, he was being offered big contracts from the Jazz, Nuggets, and other contending teams alike, until he decided to go back to Europe, which became a shock to everyone. He ended up signing a contract with FC Barcelona for 3 years in the sum around the $45 to $50 million range. Now, something to note about this is that he did play for Real Madrid before he came to the NBA, which is in the same country as Barcelona. So maybe he liked the country and just wanted to go back to his European roots. Maybe he wanted to lead the team instead of being a role player. Who knows? All I do know is that he went from averaging 11 points and 5 rebounds a game on 41% shooting from the field and 36 from 3, to now averaging 19 points, 6 rebounds a game while shooting 50% from the field and 33% from 3. So he's definitely doing more things scoring-wise overseas, and he's even led his team to a 39-12 record overall. After seeing all of this, I'm sure he'll be having a nice career in Spain and enjoying every moment of it. But, we'd be glad to have him back in the NBA. Next, let's look at how Jeremy Lin is doing. After many years of being all over the league and a couple injuries here and there, he has found his way onto Atlanta Hawks trying to revive his career, which he actually did successfully. After being out for a whole year while playing with the Brooklyn Nets, he came to Atlanta and averaged 10 points on 47% from the field, which made him look really promising as a backup point guard. Due to this, the Toronto Raptors ended up signing him for the remainder of the 2019 season to help the Raptors as they were dealing with injuries in their backcourt. How did that go, you ask me? Well, in 23 games where he started 3, he averaged 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists on a terrible 37% from the field and 20% from 3. So things weren't really going how he and the Raptors actually expected it to go. It didn't really go much better in the playoffs, where he only played a grand total of 26 minutes and scoring a total of 9 points in the entire playoffs. As we all know, our Lord and Savior Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors won the championship, which made Jeremy Lin a champion. But he wasn't re-signed by anyone. He wasn't even offered a contract by anyone. From there, he decided to keep his basketball career going by playing in China with the Beijing Ducks, which, as we all expected, with him being an NBA player and all, he's killing it over there with the Ducks, averaging 24 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds a game while shooting 47% from the field and 36% from 3. So let's hope with how he's playing overseas that he can find a way to come back to the league, but I'm sure if he stays in China, he'll be a fan favorite and a legend. But maybe not as big as Jimmer, who we're talking about right now. After doing all the amazing things he's done in college, it was thought that Jimmer Fredette could bring some of that talent to the NBA. His NBA comparison coming in by NBADraft.net was thought to be on the level of Mark Price, and at the least, a pretty good bench player like Eddie House that can bring some nice shooting in as a 7th or 8th man. With all of that hype, he was drafted by the Bucks at 10th and then sent to Sacramento later on in that draft. When it came to his NBA career, all I can say about it kind of turned out like people expected Curry's career to be at first, but worse. He didn't do much or show much potential at the NBA level, but the Kings still signed him back after his rookie contract to give him one more chance. Unfortunately, due to very poor play, he was traded to the Bulls that same season. After that, he went and played for New Orleans for 50 games and didn't do much. That next free agency period, he was signed by the Spurs and even practiced with them all summer to then get waived after the preseason, and then he got signed back by the Pelicans again to get waived 9 days later. Then, as a way to show his worth to the league once again, he balled out in the G League for a year with the, Westchester Knicks? Okay, I think I actually said that right. Averaging 21 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and almost 2 steals a game, while shooting 41% from 3 and 45% from the field. This earned him a 10-day contract with the Knicks, as he only played a total of 2 games and 5 minutes total, with only 7 points in total. As you can imagine, he got waived again. After all of that, he probably noticed that the NBA might not be the way for him, so Jimmer went and played for the CBA, becoming an absolute legend. In his first season alone, he averaged 37 points a game on 47% shooting. 3 more seasons of dominating in China later, and a game where he exploded for 75 fucking points and won, unlike Devin Booker? Okay, let me stop before the Devin Booker fans fucking dox me or something. He even had an NBA comeback with the Suns last year where he torched the teams he went against by going for 0 of 13 from the 3 in 6 games and going 8 for 29 from the field, scoring a grand total of 22 points. Yeah, I'm sure the Suns management was happy to send his ass back to China after that one, which he actually didn't return to because he went and played for a Greek team. How the fuck y'all niggas expect me to pronounce this shit? Google!
I swear to God, this is why you have no European subscribers. The team is called Panathinaikos, you idiot. Learn how to do this yourself.
Yeah, he played for that team for 2 years and $7 million. Now, is he averaging 37 points a game with that EuroLeague team? The obvious answer is no, though he's averaging a respectable 13 points on 52% shooting and 50% from 3. That is literally efficiency at its best. It's good to see that he's making the most out of his European career, and let's hope that he makes the best of everything he's got for the former college basketball sensation. Lastly, let's look at what happens when international talent doesn't work out in the NBA. Now, y'all remember my nigga Jochi? For those who don't remember, he isn't in the NBA anymore. For obvious reasons, he's in this video, but let's look at how things worked out for him before he became an NBA player. Now, as you can imagine, Zhou Qi played professionally in China since he was 18, as he played in the CBA for the Google.
Great, now you're offending the Chinese audience. Can't wait to see how many comments you get for not trying to say these names again. It's the Xinjiang Flying Tigers.
Okay, yeah, whatever that thing said. Flying Tigers, where in his first year he averaged 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks while shooting 70% from the field. So even in his younger years, he was doing pretty well for himself and setting himself up for a nice career in China. Even in his last season before we went to the NBA draft, he stepped up his production with 16 points and 10 rebounds a game. With that, he tried his hand in the NBA and got drafted in the second round, 43rd overall, to the Houston Rockets. Now, I'll be honest, this is definitely the best thing that ever happened to him and the worst thing that ever happened to him. I'll explain why it was the best later, but why it was the worst is mainly because, the Rockets literally put a 6'6" man at center. Now, I don't believe it was meant for him to play in the league since he is a slower center and not exactly the best three-point shooter, and for him to go to a more progressive team that is coached by Mike D'Antoni was a sign for things to come. He was mostly in the G League to develop, where in his first season he averaged 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game while shooting 33% from 3 and 51% from the field. Now, I know that G League talent ain't as good as NBA talent, but that's still a good start to be doing this against this level of competition. However, in his rookie season playing in the actual NBA, he didn't really do much, which is expected for a second-round pick. In his last season being last year, he didn't go off to a good start due to an injury in the preseason game against the Shanghai Sharks that basically sat him out for the whole entire season, as he only played not even a minute in total with the actual Rockets team. After that, he was waived and returned back to China with his former team where it all started. Now, remember when I said that being in the NBA was also a blessing? Well, in the NBA, he was able to get some of the best resources for working out and to gain much needed muscle mass. Plus, he was able to play against much better competition, which made him better when he went back to China. Now, due to everything he experienced in the States, this season in China, he's averaging 21 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game on 53% from the field. An obvious improvement. So let's hope that he does more to improve himself as he continues to play in China. One more thing I want to say is, why is there so many niggas playing in China? On Zhou Qi's team alone, he has former NBA players like Jarnell Stokes, Kay Fielder, Ian Clark, and Eric Mika, to the 2 people that know him. I have no fucking idea who he is. Anyways, that's the end of today's video, and I hope you enjoyed it. It was cool to look up how these former NBA players are doing overseas and to see that they're still dominating on another level. But again, as we all know, some people always slip out and not become a part of the 450 available spots in the league. If you want a video to see how the lesser known NBA players are doing overseas, then again, the like goal is 1,000 likes and I'll make it next week's video. Otherwise, I'll just use the idea later when I'm bored. Check out my Instagram and my new Twitter, link in the description, to get sneak peeks on what's going on in the life of Alvini and other things YouTube, plus to DM me to say what's up. Also, check out the Discord if you just want to chill out with the other subs. You know how it is for those that's already in there. Let me stop wasting your time. This is your boy, Alvini Linguine, saying peace.